Welcome again to becometechpro.com. We are still on shell scripting. In the last session, we stopped at for loop, right? So let's take a look at the last script we ran so we can pick up from there. 21st.sh. Okay, so this is the last script we ran. So from what you see here, we add a for loop, right? You can see this is what we had. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to make another script out of this. Okay, let's make 22nd.sh. Okay, so I'm redirecting it into that file. Okay, so now that I have 22nd.sh, let's see what we have in there. So we can just modify it. Now, this is what we had, and what we had was taking care of for loop, right? We are looking at a situation where we currently have an employee size of 50, right? This is the initialization. And here we have the maximum, the minimum we can have, which is the condition, right? This is what we have here. This is the minimum we can get, right? Our employees could be greater than or equal to 0, right? That's the condition. And here we have the decrement, right? So instead of using the typical x equals, typical x minus minus, right? Because we are looking at a decrement of 5, so we decided to have it in this presentation, okay? So now this is what we had, but this time around, we want to take care of while loop, okay? So the concept is similar, except for some differences, right? So let's see what the differences are, okay? So with for loop, you see, we have everything wrapped up in curved brackets there, right? And we had it starting with the expression for, okay? So for while loop, what we are going to have is that we are going to have the initialization coming first, okay? We'll have the initialization coming first before having, so let's just take a look at what the format is going to look like. Initialization, right? We'll have that up there, okay? Then we'll now use the keyword while, okay? While, okay? Then inside the curved bracket, we'll now set the condition, you see? Right? You set the condition inside the curved brackets, okay? So while this condition exists, what should happen, right? You do, okay? Use the keyword do, okay? Just as we had with the for loop, okay? Do, okay? So for loop, okay, this time around we have while loop, okay? You see, we've taken care of the initialization. We should have been in the brackets as we had in for loop, right? But this time around, it's coming first as usual. Then condition that came second is the only thing we have within this bracket, right? You see? Then do, okay? So do what, okay? We want to echo, you know, we can run our command here, echo, you see? Echo, then we can run our command here, right? Enter our command, you see? Now, if we remember, with for loop, we had initialization, we had condition, then we had increment or decrement in that order, right? So in this case, we are going to now have increment or decrement here, right? You see, increments or decrement, right? We specify that here, decrement, as the case may be, right? Increment or decrement. Then once we are done, we put this done, okay? So this is what it's gonna look like, okay? This is what it is going to look like. Okay, let's say for example, you want to, looking at the example we used earlier, right, in the last session, looking at the employee scenario, right? We assume that initially we had a total number of 50 employees, right? And we assume that if revenue continues to decline, right, every quarter that revenue declines and we get a report showing a decline in revenue, we are going to cut our employees by 5, you see? And the minimum we can go is 0, okay? So at every point in time, our employee could be greater than or equal to 0, okay? So since that is what we established, okay? So if you look at this, this is a situation of decrement, you see? We have decrement, right? So if you take a look at this, at the end of the day, we are supposed to get the same result as we got with the previous script. Okay, so what we are going to do now is that we are going to modify what we have here. You see, initialization, let's say employees, right? Employees equal, right? 50, right? That's the initial position, okay? So now the condition is that employees could be greater than or equal to, you see, employees could be greater than or equal to 0, right? Because we are looking at shutting down the plant, right? And gradually want to reduce our employee size by 5. This is a decision, right? It's a business decision, okay? So we can say, well, you see, employees, you see, well, this time around, because they are not all in brackets, we need to call this variable, right? You see, we defined the variable here, we need to call it, okay? But if we had everything in the bracket, we would have just specified it without, as we had with for loop, right? We would have specified everything. So this time around, we are calling the variable employees, right? You see, could be greater than, right? Or equal to, you see, could be greater than or equal to 0, you see. Now, the command we want to run is, okay, the command we want to execute is that we want to know what the employee size is at every point in time, okay? So we'll come down here, echo, and modify this, right? We say $employees, okay? $employees, okay? So now, here we need to define the decrement. We talked about decrement, right? We talked about decrement. We need to define the decrement, right? Which is at every point in time, right? At every point in time, you see, we want to have employees, right? Employees will be equal to, right? You see, employees will be equal to, so we want to use the EXPR, you see, EXPR, okay, will be equal to $employees up there, you see, employees minus, right, minus 5, right? We are trying to reduce employees by 5 every now and then, right? But there's something we need to do, okay? There's something we need to do for this to work, right? There's something we need to do right now. Remember, with our shell scripting, there should be no space, okay? Unlike Python, that we can leave space in between, with shell scripting, we don't leave a space between the, you see, variable and the value, right? And even the assignments, and the sign that we have here, you see, equal to sign, right? So, but if we run this like this, it's not going to work, right? So, because we need to bring in the backtick, right? In here, not quote, not quote. Okay, this won't work. Okay, we need to bring in the backtick. Okay, open it there and close it out here. You see, we need to bring in the backtick. Okay, so this is just a build up on everything we've learned so far, right? So now with this, we have everything completed. You see the initialization, you see. Here you have the condition, and here you have the decrements, you see. It could have been increment, okay? But here we have the decrement, you see. So now let's save this and run it, escape column WQ, okay? So if we try to run 22nd.sh now, you see, what do we have? We have 50, 45, 40, showing the decrements, right? Over time until we arrive at 0. You see, this will give us the same result as what we got with 21st.sh. You see, with 21st.sh, it's exactly the same thing we got. Okay. So if we look at what we have here, right, you see, using for loop or while loop will give us exact same thing, right? So let's see what we got, okay, when we run the same variables, the same components, right? Using for loop, you see. See, we got exact same thing because the example we used is exactly the same, okay? Now, let us say we want to look at a situation where, using another example, let's say our class size currently is 100, right? And we are looking at setting up a wait list, okay? Once we achieve additional 50, we can start a new class, right? That's the wait list size, okay? And let's say our maximum capacity is 1,000 students, right? So we can also write a script for that, right? Using while loop, you see. So let's see what we'll get, okay? So in this situation, what we want to do is that we want to, let's see the last script work done, 22nd.sh. Let's redirect it into 23rd.sh, right? So that we can just modify the file, 23rd.sh, right? So now we can now VI into 23rd.sh, you see. So what we want to do now is something different, okay? But we are going to build up on what we already know, right? So what we want to do now is to assume that, you see, our current class size, okay? Let's say our current class size, let's say total students we have now, we have 100. Okay, let's say we have 100 because it's shell scripting, okay? You don't want to put a space. Then you set the variable, let's say 100. So this is the initial position, right? This is the initial position. We are looking at while loop, right? We are looking at while loop, okay? This is the initial position, okay? So now we want to use the keyword, right? While, you see, while, you see, this is the keyword while, okay? So the keyword we are using is while, okay? So we want to open our curly brackets, curve brackets, then go in between, okay? So while, so what is the condition, okay? The condition is that we can only accommodate a maximum of 1,000 students, right? 1,000, right? And want to set up a wait list, okay? So since this is our condition, maximum of 1,000, we can say students But this time around, because it's not for loop, okay, it's while loop, and I can't just put just students, you see. Students, I can't just say this because it's not going to work. So I need to call the variable that has been defined out there, right? So student size, okay, could be greater than, could be less than or equal to 1,000 because we have a maximum limit this time around, you see? We have a maximum limit this time around. So you can say less than or equal to 1,000, you see? You see? Less than or equal to 1,000, okay? So once we specify this, we use the keyword do, okay? Do, okay? Enter. So we say echo, okay? What do we want to get, okay? We want to get the numbers. What are we looping? We are looping students, okay? So we can say echo students, right? So if you look at this, okay, we don't want to run this endlessly, right? So we need to come here, down here, and specify the increment. You see, the increment this time around is going to be what the wait list size is going to be. Okay. Once we get additional 50, we start a new class, right? Once we had additional 50, we start a new class. So our wait list here is we are going to start a new class once the number of students in the wait list it's 50, right? So in that case, we want to say students, okay? We are trying to set a, we want to set the increment, okay? So equal to, you see, similar to this, you see, you can also see the color, right? Equal to, you can say, we want to use the EXPR, okay? So you need to put the backtick and go in between the backtick, okay? And use the AXPR keyword because we want to do some calculations here, okay? We can't just say students, okay? So this time we need to come here, okay? So what it means is that these students will be increasing by 50-50 for us to have a new class, okay? So we are calling that variable up there, students, you see, students plus 50, you see, students plus 50, okay? And we have everything within this backtick, you see. So after specifying this, we want to say, yes, we are done, okay? So done, you see. So if I save this now, you see, if I run sh 23rd.sh, you see, it tells me, oh, initially we have 100. So once we hit 150, we'll start a new class. Once we hit 200, we start a new class. Once we hit 250, we start a new class. You see, so just in that order. So this is while loop for you, okay? So now that we've taken care of while loop, we want to look at something also very interesting, okay? So something very interesting. This time around, I want to look at switch case, okay? Switch case. So if we take a look at, let's see what I have here. Switch case. I want us to take a look at something so that we can really understand how this works, okay? And say GitHub installation scripts. So there's an installation script that I wrote using switch case. We just want to take a look at it. What is that? Is that Nexus or what? Let's see this. Okay, you see, this is switch case, right? And it has if else statement in it, right? So if you look at this, if you remember in the last session, we looked at some internal variables, okay? We looked at internal variables. We looked at $1, showing that is the first argument. We looked at $2. We looked at different internal variables, okay? So we can use, you see, our knowledge in switch case to build up something like this. You can see this shows that there are different options, okay? It could be managed, right? In this case, you see, $1, the first argument could be managed, right? These are what we could have. It could be install, you see. It could be launch, you see. If you don't use any of the arguments, okay, if you use any other thing, you say wildcard, you see, and it tells you the usage is this. Remember $0 as well, which is the name of the script, okay? So the usage is you use this and either of these options, you see, and it says you have not specified an argument, you see. Now that we've established this, we see what switch case is, right? So we can use this in different ways, okay? We can use this in different ways. Okay, now looking at what we've done so far, right? Looking at what we've done so far, we've used, we've used, uh, we've written scripts to get input from the user. We've looked at internal variables. We've looked at if-else statements, right? We've looked at switch case. We've looked at for loop. We look at while loop. Now we want to look at switch case. Okay. So let's see how we can better understand switch case. Okay. Since we have an idea of what it is and how it is used and how it could be used. Okay. So let's look at a simple way of using this. Okay. Let's duplicate one of our scripts. Let's see cards 23.sh. Okay. 23.sh. Let's redirect the content into 24th.sh, right? 24th.sh. You see? 24th.sh. So we can now VI to 24th.sh. Okay. So now we are done with while loop. Okay. So what we want to do now is that we want to look at switch case. Okay. We want to look at switch case. So let's see what we have. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me clear this. Okay. This script is on switch case. Okay. This script is on switch case. I didn't clear that. This script is on switch case. This script is on switch case. Okay. So now, when you talk about switch case, okay, it will always start with case. Okay. It starts with case. Okay. Case. It always starts with case. Okay. So now, let's say we can have something like this. Okay. We can have something like this. Remember, case $1, right? Remember what $1 means? First argument, right? Case $1, okay? That's first argument, okay? We can now use this in, okay? So case $1 in, okay? So this is how you start a switch case, you see? In this case, we are trying to use the first argument, right? We are trying to build up using the first argument. What will be in the first argument? At the moment, we do not know, right? You only get to know what the item in the first argument will be when you try to run a script, right? It is at that point in time that you want to specify whatever is for your first argument, right? But right now, we don't know what it is. It's just an internal variable, right? Case $1 in, okay? But Since I'm the one writing the script, right, I know what to expect, right? I know what to expect. So now I can say my options, let me see, my options is to, I'm looking for what to engage in, right? I'm looking for courses I can do. Let's look at the courses offered by becomeatechpro.com. Okay, let's look at the courses offered by becomeatechpro.com and use those as options, right? So the first option, let's say DevOps, right? Let's say DevOps. You see, you can say DevOps, right? You can say DevOps. So once you put the first option, right? You want to put it, put a bracket after it, okay? You want to put a bracket after it. Once you put the first option, you want to put a bracket after it, then you click on enter, you see? So the first option here, right? The first option that could be used as an argument, you see? We specified it, right? Is DevOps, right? One of the courses we offer, right? So now that we've entered this, we also want to say, want to now run a command, right? The command could be anything, right? Right under this DevOps, you can put an if-else statement. You can put, you see, just similar to the script that I wrote here, you see. Under each of these options, you have all sorts, right? Under install, look at everything you have there, right? You know, you can have several things, you see. Here you have if-else statements. Here it's just simple script, right? And here, you see, it's just straightforward, right? So these are different options possible, right? But we want to keep it as simple as possible, okay? We want to keep it as simple as possible. So echo what? Remember, we said we can decide to go ahead and put it in quotation marks, okay? But because we are trying to make this easy on us, right? We can decide to just freestyle, right? Once you understand this, you can decide to now put it in quotes, right? Because the more you see quotation mark signs and all of that, the more you think it's difficult, right? So you want to say echo, right? Echo what? Okay, you can say we offer a class, we offer to, okay, we offer DevOps sessions every weekend, right? You see, every weekend. You see, we offer DevOps sessions every weekend. You see, now we've done this, we've done it, okay? So, but the thing is, with this, what we need to do, you know, you can have several commands and all of that, okay? So, what you should note with this, case is important. Where is this argument? Which argument? Is it? It could be $2, right? It could be second, it could be $2, it could be second argument, it could be whatever it is you want to specify, right? So now, since it's $1, okay, and we've selected the first possible option, which is DevOps, okay? So if anybody chooses DevOps, you get this as an output, you see? You get this as an output, right? So now the next option, okay, before you go to the next option, you can't just do this, okay? If you try to type something else, let's say Linux, right? Let's see what happens, you see? Linux, let me close it, you see? It is not aligning well because something is actually missing, okay? So in switch case, once you finish a particular on a particular option, like this DevOps option, we are done with it, okay? When you are writing sentence in English, you put full stop, right? right? You put full stop. Sometimes you use comma, right? You see? But here we need to indicate two semicolons, right? Two semicolons. Two semicolons, okay? That's my semicolon, yeah? Two semicolons, you see? So once you indicate these two semicolons, you see, and you try to do the same thing we did earlier, you see? Let's close this. You see, the positioning is just right. Unlike before, when we didn't have the semicolon, it was placing it in a wrong spot. But we'll still go over this so that we can see how it behaves, you see. So this two semicolons is very important for this to work, okay? So if it is Linux, we can say echo, we offer Linux sessions just 4 times in a year. You see, we can say this, you see, we only offer Linux sessions 4 times in a year, you see. Okay, so let us assume that we made a mistake and we didn't do the right thing, right? You see, we made a mistake and we didn't do the right thing. If we decide to enter, we say, oh, what's the next course? You have Python, right? You see, you have Python, and we close it, okay? I will now come here and say echo, you see? So without putting the semicolon here, it takes it that all of these are still parts of what we have under the Linux option. You see, you can see the way it's behaving now, okay? So now let's do the right thing, you see? And even doing the right thing, you can decide not to even put your two semicolons here. You can decide not to put it here, but rather go to the next line, you see? This is also a possibility. So this time around, if I now say, what was the course? Python, for example, right? Python, you see, it still does the same thing. Whether we put it up here or we put it down, right? You see, it's still behaving well, okay? Echo, you can say echo, we offer Python sessions every Sunday, you see? Let's see. We offer Python sessions every Sunday, okay? So let's say this is all we have, right? But it is not impossible that other users of this our program might decide to enter something else or even nothing other than DevOps, Linux, and Python, or even spell these letters wrongly, like putting Linux in lowercase, right? So those are possibilities. And you know, Linux is case sensitive, right? So what we are going to do now is that we are going to now make provision for every other option, right? So for every other option, we use wildcard, right? Use wildcard. So for every other option, use wildcard. Can now say something like this, okay? Can now say something like this. You have echo, you see, echo, you have entered an incorrect argument, right? An incorrect argument, you see? You have entered an incorrect argument, you see? You have entered an incorrect argument. Because we also want to provide some guidance to users, right? We want to provide some guidance to the users, okay? You want to say what they should enter, right? Although I know that the name of my script is 23rd.sh, right? I could do something like this, okay? Echo, okay? What I expect them to do is to say, is it 23rd.sh or 24th.sh? I can't remember, but I think it's 23rd.sh, you see? 23rd.sh wants to provide some guidance, okay? By saying this, sh, 23rd.sh, want to put usage. Want to put something like this, usage, you see, usage, like telling them the correct usage, what they should do. Echo 23rd.sh, right? And choose any of these options, right? DevOps, right? DevOps, or you can use this, or DevOps, or you see, DevOps, or what's it called? Linux, you see. These are the possible options. Or what else? We can have Python, you see. So these are the possible options. These are the correct options, right? You see. You can either use, this is the usage, this is the appropriate usage, you see. So we are providing some guidance, right? Telling them you have entered an incorrect argument. Usage, use sh, 23rd.sh, but because we do not want to add code, right? We do not want to add code. Remember, when we're looking at the internal variables, there's a variable, an internal variable that represents the script that you are running, right? Which is $0. Okay. So you can say $0. Okay. You can use something like this, $0, and use this as options. You see, it's either DevOps, Linux, or Python. Okay. So now the thing is, just as you have finished this, okay, you can come here and put your double semicolon. Okay. So that way we are all aware, we are true. Okay. So if you remember, when we ran the if else condition, right? We ended it with fi, right? Fi. When we did the for loop and while loop, it ended with done, right? This time around, we need to end it with a sack, okay? So a sack is like writing case from the back, right? Just as we wrote if from the back to get fi, okay? So a sack is like writing this from the back, case from the back, a sack, okay? So with this, we are done with our script, okay? So what we want to do, you see, you can see, yeah, we have this under here. Yeah, we have it up here, you see, okay? But either way, let's see what we get. Let's get column WQ, okay? So you can see our script is even 24th.sh, not 23rd, okay? So it was nice we changed that to $0, right? So if we run this, okay, let's say we want to run this script, use sh, right? 24th.sh. If you run this script now, you see, because we did not put any arguments, right? You see, we just ran this script straight away. Say, oh, you have entered an incorrect argument. The appropriate usage is, oh, sh, 24th.sh, okay. Then use DevOps, you see. Did we write 24th.sh in our script? No, but we wrote $0, okay. But because $0 is an internal variable, right? So it shows that internal variable, right? You see, it selected it because that's the name of the script. So it says you should either use it with DevOps or Linux or Python. You see, it has shown us the appropriate usage, right? Okay, so if we run this now, and I decide to put DevOps right in front, you see, DevOps, it tells me we offer DevOps sessions every weekend, you see. If I decide to change that, and put Linux, you see, Linux, you see. Say we offer Linux sessions just 4 times in a year, right? You see. If you decide to put in Python, you see, Python, you see, say we offer Python sessions every Sunday, right? Every Sunday, you see. Just what we've imputed is what we got out of here, right? You can see. So if we mistakenly decide to write DevOps the wrong way, you see, DevOps the wrong way, although this is DevOps, right? You see, it tells us you have entered an incorrect argument, you see. You have entered an incorrect argument. So this is switch case. There are different ways you can use it, right? You can use it in different ways, you see. You can use it in different ways, you see. Also, looking at this, you can decide to you can decide to make it variable such that you even use this to get input from the user, right? You can decide to use this to get input from the user, right? So there are different things you can do with this, you see, like the shell script, that the script you saw out there, right? For installing Nexus application is based on shell scripts, right? So these are different options, right? So something else we need to look at, okay, is functions, okay? Usually, code duplication is not a good practice, okay? So we can use functions to limit duplications in codes, okay? We can use limit functions to limit duplication in codes, okay? You can use function to limit duplication in codes. For example, let's look at an existing script that we have. Let's look at an existing script that we have. Let's say, let's cats, that's 24.sh. Okay, let's redirect this to 25th.sh, right? So this is something we could do, okay? So if you veer into 25th.sh, you see, this is the script. We want to modify this script. We are done with switch case. So what we want to do is that we want to modify this file, okay? So we've looked at switch case. So we want to modify this file. Let's see something else, okay? So let's on functions, okay? Functions. So we get to understand how functions work, okay? So let's say we are looking at, let's say we are looking at a greeting message, right? A greeting message, for example, okay? And we are looking at getting a greeting message. And so to get a function, okay? To get a function, firstly, we need to identify what we want to achieve, right? It's a greeting message, let's say salutation, for example, right? Salutation, okay? Salutation, okay? Because it's function, we want to write this salutation, that is the function, okay? Then you open your bracket and you close it, okay? So then we'll go to the end and put a curly bracket, you see, open it here and close it here, okay? You can see we have the function, right? Then we have this, right? We have this, open this curved bracket and we close it. Then you open the curly bracket too and you close it. So go in between the curly brackets and click on enter, right? You see? So now in here, whatever you put in here, right? You see? whatever you put in here, right? You can see whatever you put in here, you can always call it, right? Because this is now a function, right? So whatever it is you put in here, you can call it at any point in time, right? So let's say you come here and you say, let's say we can say echo, hello everybody, right? And say echo again, echo, right? And say welcome to becomeatechpro.com, right? Pro.com, right? Welcome to becomeatechpro.com. You see? Now we have what? A function, right? So if we just go ahead and save this file just the way it is now, right? The name of the script is 25th.sh. You see, if you just go ahead and save the script, see, and try to run this script, you see, we've not called the function, right? We only created the function, see? You see, nothing happened, right? Nothing happened because we've created a function, but we didn't call the function at all, okay? We didn't call the function at all. So how do we call a function, okay? So you can see we have a function, quite all right, okay? And we tried to run this script. It didn't work. Nothing showed up, right? Because we only created a function, but we did not call the function. So how do we call the function, okay? So to call a function, all you need to do, okay, is to just, what is this? Salutation, right? Just call it salutation. You see? Just call it salutation, you see? Call the function, okay? Salutation, right? So now, if we go ahead, let's save this file. You see? Let's save this file. Escape, colon WQ. You see? Let's rerun that script, you see? Now, we've just run this script. It's giving us, hello everybody, and welcome to becomeatechpro.com. So what have we done differently, right? What have we done differently? We wrote a script, right? We have a function, okay? So the only thing we did is to just come here, down here, and call this name, you see? We just call the name, okay? So for us to understand this script, let me put some notes, okay? Let me put some notes so that it will make it clear, okay? Calling, you can say echo, right? Something like this, echo, calling, can be consistent, calling the salutation function, salutation function, you see, below. Okay, so the reason why I did this, why I didn't put this echo at first, is that I just wanted you to see that we didn't need to do anything special, right? So this echo really doesn't matter, right? It's just to show what is happening, right? It's just to show what is happening, okay? So with or without this, with this alone, you can always, you've called the function, okay? So if for some reason, you see, let's run it again so we can establish that, you see, if you run the script, you see, this time around it's saying calling the salutation function below, right? Hello everybody, welcome to becomeatechpro.com. So whatever is giving us this is just the salutation, right? By just typing salutation at the bottom, it's calling the function exactly as it is, you see? It's calling the function exactly as it is. You see, it's calling the function exactly as it is. Okay, so let's look at some other possibilities. You see, let's look at some other possibilities. See, let's look at some other possibilities. Okay, so let's look at some other possibilities. Okay, so let's say we have, you see, we have this function, right? We have this function. Okay, we have this function. Okay, we have this function in this file. Okay, let's go back to that file, 24.sh. You see, let's say 25th.sh. Let's veer into the file again. Let us say we are taking this out. You see, I to insert. Okay, but instead of that, instead of taking this out, since I'm sharing this script, let's create a new script. Okay, let's create a new script out of this. Okay, so let's create cat 25th.sh. I want to redirect it into 26th.sh, right? 26th, 26th.sh, right? So this is what we are doing. We are duplicating this file, okay? So vi to 26.sh, right? What do we have? We have this script, okay? So if we want to call, right? We want to have a, you see, we have a function in this file. Let's say we have a function in this file, okay? Let's say we have a function in this file, right? This is a function, right? Right? This is a function, right? This is a function. You see, this is a function, right? So this is a function. So if we decide to come here and let's say we have this, okay? We've taken that out, okay? So let's create a different file, right? Let's call this 26b.sh, okay? Let's just vi into a file and call it 26th file, okay? Let's say 26th file, okay? We can just have something like this, okay? Let's say 26th file, okay? .sh, something like this. Let's say 26th B, okay? Let's just say 26B, okay? And say, let's just call it this file, okay? We can have this, okay, on the first line, okay? So let's just save this .sh. Let's call this 26th b.sh, something like this, okay? So inside this file, okay, what we can do is to say, you see, let's say we want to call, you see, let's say we want to call that function, you see, let's say we want to call the function, okay? So if you remember, the function, right, is in 26th.sh, right? The function is in 26th.sh, right? So if you come here, right, you come here and you say, let's see, you use the source keyword, okay, to start this line. So I to insert, let's insert, okay, I to insert. So right here, we can just come here and use this source keyword, okay, say source, right? You see, source. Then you say the name of the file, okay? The name of the file is 26.sh, where the function is originally, right? 26.sh, you see? That's the name of the file. That's 26.sh, right? That's the name of the file. Okay, so let's say inside this file, you want to now call that function, right? Salutation. Salutation, right? That's the name of the function, right? So what we've done here is that on the first line, we've indicated this, okay? Source, right? Dot slash, you see, 26.sh, which is the name of the file. This file that we are working on right now is 26b.sh. I decided to name it that way so that we can see how the files relate. You see, right here in this file, you can see there's no function here, right? There's no function here. But the salutation function is where? Is inside 26.sh, okay? So using this source keyword, okay, we make it go to this file, okay, and call this function, okay? So what I want to do now is that I just want to save this file, you see? I want to save that file, okay? So if I now run sh, okay, 26b.sh, b, you see, 26b.sh, right? Which is the name of this file that I put source at the top, right? If I run this, you see, it gives me, hello, everybody. Welcome to becomeatechpro.com. But if you look at that file again, is there anything like, hello, everybody, welcome to becomeatechpro.com here? No. The only thing we have there is that we indicated source, right? And we specified the file name, you see? We specified the file name that we are trying to pick it from, you see? Source, we specified the file name that we are trying to pick it from, you see? So that is what we did here, okay? So you can see with this, we are also able to call a function from another file, okay? So with this, we come to an end of shell scripting. So looking forward to seeing you in the next class while we take care of source code management, okay? We'll be looking at Git, we'll be looking at GitHub. Thank you for your time. See you in the next session. Bye for now.